Welcome back. In this video, I'm going over how to do your taxes in TurboTax. Now, I don't actually recommend using TurboTax, but I know that a lot of people have heard of TurboTax and a lot of people like it. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through getting your account set up and doing your taxes yourself in TurboTax. If you're new here, my name's Amanda. You're watching The Business Finance Coach, where I simplify the technicalities of business to help you succeed, because I truly believe that you shouldn't feel held back, confused, or overwhelmed by these aspects of our civilized society. Let's jump in to setting up your taxes in TurboTax software. Now, I do recommend a software called Free Tax USA, which is much cheaper, and I have videos that will link in the description below or somewhere around here that direct you to those videos. It's just going to be much cheaper to use that software. But regardless, I'll be walking you through TurboTax right now. And I also have another video you can check out called Which Software Gives Me a Bigger Return Refund Amount. So if you want to use TurboTax to compare to a return that you hire a professional to do, or that you use another DIY software and then compare those, definitely check out that video as I walk you through exactly how to do that to make sure you're not missing out on anything and to help you understand your return and be more confident that you're doing everything right and not missing out on anything. Okay, let's jump in to your TurboTax tax return. So you can see this is what the website looks like right now, turbotax.intuit.com. So you click sign in the top right corner, and this is where you can go ahead and click create a new account if you haven't used Intuit before, or if you have, you can enter your phone number, email, or user ID and sign in. You can click here to create an account. If you forgot your password, you can click the try something else hyperlink. Once I log in, I get this screen. Don't be surprised if they change things up. This is just the latest way that it looks. They do tend to tweak things, but the concept is the same. So first they're telling us here, tell us about you, and we'll recommend the right software that they have. So you can say you want to maximize your deductions and credits, which who doesn't want to do that? They ask if you have a W-2 job, you pay rent, own a home, have children, if you want an expert to help you do your taxes or do them for you. This one's review your return. This is have them do it for me. If you own a business, if you're self-employed, you sold stock or real estate, paying off student loans. So you can see there's a lot of options here. And as you check them off, other ones do come up as well. And we can see down here, we have all of the different options. They have a free return, which this is the only time TurboTax is free. Then we have the deluxe version. So if you itemize your deductions, which means typically that you have a lot of charitable contributions, mortgage interest, you do have to have quite a bit in order for it to matter. So less and less people are able to itemize. I have another video that goes over the standard deduction or the itemized deductions. So we'll link that right here. But the moment you answer a question related to the itemized deductions, such as how much did you donate to charity, the software pushes you into this $48 software or $60 software into their deluxe version. And guess what TurboTax does? You can't go back. So once you answer a question, it will warn you. The software will say, you know, this is an itemized deduction. We're going to upgrade you into deluxe. And of course, you're going to say yes, because you want to deduct your deductions. But what you don't know is that you don't get to take an itemized deduction unless it's bigger than your standard deduction, which is $12,400 for a single person, or double that if you're married. So if your charitable contributions are for $500 for the year, there's no point in even entering those unless you have a lot more of the itemized deductions. So this is a way that TurboTax really takes advantage and forces people to pay more than they should for their software. And about 70 million people who qualify to file for free because their income is below a certain amount, 70 million people end up paying who shouldn't pay because TurboTax is allowed to do it this way. But that's not what this video is about. So then Premier comes into play if you have rental property, stocks, that type of thing. And I will say that TurboTax is the most advanced when it comes to various stock options and those types of investments. And then self-employed, of course, is when we have a business. And so you can see state cost additional in every option. And these are the sale prices. When we get near the due date for tax season, the price goes up. Just to show you how the software looks, I'm going to start with the free edition and click File for Free. Now you can see it's loading. We hope it goes by fast with this mesmerizing spinny thing. Now they're asking us, did we have a baby? Did we buy a house? Did we get married? Did we move, refinance a home? So let's say we had a baby and got married. Did we get a new employer? Maybe we did new employer, and a lot of people received unemployment in 2020, so I'll check that and click continue. Many people received the stimulus, right? They say select all that applied. Many people started a business, withdrew from retirement, sold or traded cryptocurrency, received Social Security or something else. I'm going to leave out started a business. I'm going to go ahead and say continue. Here they tell us about each of the things we selected. So this is pretty cool. I'm going to scroll down and say continue. Now this account is my name, but this is a test account. So it has some random information in here, and it did pick this up from last year. If you haven't used TurboTax before, it's just going to ask you for more information when you're creating your account right here. One cool thing they do at the bottom here, after you answer all of these questions, they give you a checklist, which I can click view, and they've created a checklist for me based on everything I set up here. So that is a pretty nifty feature so that you know exactly what forms you need. You can see we need a 1099-G for unemployment. The state issues you that 1099-G. I need a W-2 or 1099 miscellaneous for the job that I worked at. I need the Social Security number for the child I had. I need my spouse's Social Security number because I got married. I need to know the payments amounts for my stimulus checks so that I know that I've gotten them all, or I can get credit for any that I'm missing when I file this tax return. And you can see they recommend for us to go through our bank statement if we aren't sure what they are. And then lastly, 1099-R, which we'll get for taking money out of our retirement. And we can even click to print this checklist. I'm going to click the blue button in the bottom right to keep going. And that's where we continue to click to move through the return. They're just telling us about their policies, continue. They're asking us to sign our return now, a consent form. I'm going to go ahead and say no thanks and then continue. Here we have my personal information, the state that I lived in. Now, an important thing to know about the state that you lived in. This is where you say where you're were a resident as of the last day of the year. However, if you lived in another state, you need to change this to yes and then select that other state. This is where you do that. And you can put the date you became a resident of New Hampshire. So we're putting the state we were in as of 12/31, the last day of the year, and then whatever other state we were in before that. You could answer a few other questions. You need to know if someone else claims you as a dependent on their return, such as a parent. And I'm going to click continue. Now they're asking us about our filing status. You can see the options right here. And just like with the state we lived in, this is based on 12/31/2020, the last day of the year. So if you get married on December 31st, then you're considered married for the entire year. It's all about what you qualify for as of the last day. So I'm going to change it to single, even though I said I got married during the year, and we'll see how the software handles that. Now they're asking us, do we have a children or support anyone else? I'll say yes, because we had a baby. You can click support to learn more or dependent to learn more. Now they're asking us about who we support, and they're going to ask us the questions that it takes for us to qualify. Here we'll fill in the information about the child. So I entered my information, scroll down and click continue. Now they're asking if my child lived with me all year. I'll say the entire year. And then it just wants to verify that we were in the US, and we'll say continue. None of these apply to my child, not disabled, didn't pass away. We know child one is a baby, but we have to ask, did she pay for most of her living expenses? We're going to go ahead and say no. The only time that would happen is if the child had inherited a lot of money, maybe from the other spouse or another family member, and was effectively paying for everything. I'm going to say no, we don't have an agreement with the child's other parent about who can claim her. And we'll say that she spent most nights with me. I'm not letting the other parent claim. No other relative helped me support the child. So good news, she qualifies as my dependent. We need to add the social security number. And so now this screen, we're going to see this screen throughout TurboTax. You can see we have our one child listed. If we need to change any information, we click edit. To delete her, we click the trash can, and to add another one, we click add a dependent. I'm going to go ahead and click done. And then we're just going to continue through answering the questions. No, I didn't make money in any other state. We're basically going through this My Info section on the left. Did I pay more than half the cost to keep up my home in 2020? Yes, I paid more than half. Someone else might have lived with me who paid for more. And so this helped me get to the filing status head of household. Because I'm separated from the parent spouse, I qualify. You can see the other filing statuses here though. If you're interested in more information, you can click those links. This is a summary screen of the My Info section. So if we scroll down, we can see everything we've entered. We can edit anything, and you can come back to this section if you need to change something. Sometimes people realize that they had income from another state. You need to come back here and click edit. I'm going to click continue. And so now you can see as we leave the My Info section and head into federal, we're being prompted to add plus. This is their help and support option, and it costs $30. Now, one of the big parts of this that are really important is that it makes it easy for us to amend our tax return for up to 3 years, and they keep all of our information in our account, our past year returns, documents, and so forth. Free Tax USA does this for free. TurboTax does this for $30. If you need to amend your return, you go back to Free Tax USA, it's $6.99 versus TurboTax fees are far more expensive. So I'm going to say not now. And you want to be careful about upgrading because you can't go back. So now you can see we're in the federal section. If you want to get back to My Info, we just click back to My Info and we're at that summary screen. I'm going to go back to federal, and you can see along the top, this is a sub menu. Wages and income, deductions and credits, other situations, and then we'll review a summary of our federal information. So I'm going to say, let's get started. Last year's return, I had entered a rental property. So for this year, I'm going to go ahead and say no. And then I'm going to go ahead and confirm deleting it. Now they're saying, wait a second, might you have missed any income from that first screen where we selected things? I'm going to go ahead and say, no, I didn't. They're asking me, did I get money from, interest from a bank? No. Did I get dividends from holding stocks? No. Do I own a foreign controlled bank account or financial asset? No. And then we'll say continue. And now we see a listing of many common types of income. And as we scroll down, you can say add more income, or we can say wrap it up to go to the next section. I'm going to come up here to the job W-2 and click start. And I'm going to say, yes, we want to work on our W-2. We want to enter it. And this is all information that we pull off the W-2. Box B has your employer's EIN number. Hopefully it'll take a fake one for our example. Then I'll click continue. Now it allows us to upload it and will automatically transfer the information, or we can type it in. Now, of course, you can make a typo when you type it in, but I think it's faster and easier to just say continue. If you're doing this on your phone, that is a great way to be able to take a picture quickly. And now I'm just going to fill in the other details from the W-2. Now I'm going to go ahead and click continue. Now, this is the information we get from our W-2. You can see a W-2 right here and other information. Let's say we made $40,000. Box 1, 3, and 5 are often the same. Sometimes there are slight differences. Box 1 is for income tax. Box 3 is for Social Security tax, and box 5 is for Medicare taxes. In box 2, we have the amount of federal income tax that was withheld as an estimate towards the tax we're going to calculate on our tax return. In this case, it was probably something like $2,800. Social Security and Medicare taxes are flat percentages. Our employer splits them with us. So Social Security tax is 6.2% and the employer pays 6.2%. So 6.2% of $40,000 is $2,480. And for Social Security tax, it's only on about the first $120,000 of income total. So if you have 2 jobs, it's 120 total. That 120 amount does increase a little each year. It's about that right now. And then for Medicare, it's only 1.45%, which is $580. Generally, you might not have anything in box 7, 8, 9, 11, 12. 12, we often have DD if you have health insurance through your employer, and that's where they report the cost of your health insurance. That has no impact on your return. There might be other informational codes selected. If you have a retirement plan, that box will be checked. And you might have a code for box 14 and an amount here as well. You can add more as needed by clicking there. And then your state section. So if your state has income tax, New Hampshire doesn't, then you'll go ahead and select the state here, enter the state ID number from your W-2, and then enter the amount of wages that apply to that state. If we lived in Hawaii for only a portion of the year and that $40,000 was primarily allocable to New Hampshire, then we'd probably end up only putting the amount that's allocable and was earned in Hawaii. Local taxes work similarly. That's an extra tax and most places don't have them. We'll go ahead and click continue. Now they want to double check the state and local taxes because that seems a little weird in our example. Now they're telling me, so far we have a refund. I'm going to click continue. Now they're asking us about this W-2 we just entered. They're saying, was anything wrong with this W-2? You can read through these and answer them. And once I click continue, this is a list of our W-2s. To add another, we just say add another W-2 and you start over again. I'm going to go back because I'm not going to add another. You can see that one I just started, it listed here, so I'll go ahead and delete it. And then we'll say continue. Now that's all the income I'm going to enter for this example, so I'm going to scroll down and click wrap up income. They're asking us if we were affected by a natural disaster declared before February 19th, 2020. So we'll say no, continue. They're asking us about virtual currency. Did we sell any Bitcoin? That type of thing. I'm going to say no. Now we are under deductions and credits, so they're going to do a quick check for tax breaks. Now, this is where they talk about the standard deduction. Now, because I had a qualified dependent, my standard deduction came out to head of household, which is $18,650 standard deduction. Although that might seem big, we no longer have personal and dependency deductions. It was a change that these amounts increased. The net impact is slightly lower. But what we're talking about right here is standard deduction or the itemized deductions. Remember, I told you this is how they get people to upgrade in the software and pay more money when you shouldn't. So you can watch this video, you can check out the links for more information, and then you see it says, okay, let's confirm this. Now in the top left, we can click show my refund so far, and then it opens up this way. Our only option is to click this button, so we're going to have to do it. Now they're going to ask us some more questions. Did we pay car registration fees? Did you own a home? How much did you donate to charity? Now this is where they're going to trick us, right? These questions are trying very specifically. Car registration fees are not that much money. Let's say I donated to charity $1,000 to $4,000, medical expenses, let's say $1,000 to $8,500, and then let's say continue. Now this is where they're gonna come back to us and say the standard deduction looks higher than our maximum itemized deductions, but that would be really close if we were a single person, because the single standard deduction is $12,500, but we can click this link to see a breakdown of our itemized deductions. So if we say, okay, sounds good, then we're going to stay with the standard deduction, which is what we want to do, and we're not going to need to enter those. So just be careful for that situation. Now we're moving on. Let's find out if we have any other tax breaks. Did you make estimated tax payments during the year? These are often called quarterly payments, and you would only make these if you were self-employed or you had a business or rental properties and you knew that you needed to make direct payments to the IRS. I'm going to say no. Did you spend money on school expenses as a teacher? There's a special up to $250 massive deduction for teachers. Did you have a health savings account? Did you have college or university expenses? Did you get a home buyer credit in 2008, a long time ago? Now we're going to say continue. So you see, get a feel for these questions. They're asking about all sorts of very specific questions. Now we're here to credits. You can see child and other dependency tax credit, child and dependent care credit, and the earned income credit. So you can see they're in orange when they really think that we might qualify for that credit. So I have a dependent entered, so the software really thinks that I'm going to get the child and other dependent tax credit. So I'll go ahead and click review. It says, looks like the child and other dependent tax credit may put more money in your pocket. Great, let's click continue. Do you want to use last year's earned income? You may benefit from recalculating your child tax credit using your 2019 earned income if it's greater than your 2020 earned income. So that's something to be aware of, and you would have to get out your 2019 tax return to do that. I'm going to go ahead and say no and continue. But if you wanted to do it, you would say yes, and you need to get that amount. Next, you can just answer the following questions, and you can see the result of the child tax credit is $2,000 for a child. that qualifies as a dependent. Now, just one last thing, have you received a letter or notice from the IRS stating that you must file Form 8862 in order to claim the credit? Let's say no. If you had received that letter, you want to be sure to say yes. And so now when we get back to this screen, we can see the amount of our credit, and now we can click edit if we want to make changes. Now, the earned income credit might apply to a lot of people. We'll go ahead and click review. Earned income credit may put more money in your pocket. So did we live in the US for more than 6 months out of the year? Yes. Now we need to read through these little checks, and if any of these apply to your situation, you need to check them. I'm going to say none of the above and continue. This is where they're saying that basically, again, just like with the other credit, we can use 2019's income if it benefits us to use that income in calculating the credit. And they are doing this for our benefit because people may have made more money or a more normal amount of money for their situation in 2019 than in 2020 if you got laid off or lost your job or was unemployed because of COVID. I'm going to say no, but again, you can just say yes and then go ahead and put in your 2019 income. And you need to get out your last year's tax return, and you can click this hyperlink for more detailed instructions for getting that amount. I'm going to say no and continue. Now it says, congrats, we get the earned income credit. Now you can see down here we have our standard deduction, and we're going to click wrap up tax breaks. You can go through all of those other different tax credits and deductions and click start and answer the questions, but I'm just going to skim over what applies for this situation. Now, they don't want to let us skip the child and dependent care credit. So they're asking, did you pay for child or dependent care? And I'm going to say no. That's why I didn't update it. So now it says, great, we're all done. We'll click continue. Any charitable cash contributions. So there was a special in 2020 because of the CARES Act for COVID that allows up to $300 of cash contributions to be deducted separate from the itemized deductions. So I'm going to go ahead in here and say we contributed the max $300 and continue. Now you can see we're over here to other tax situations. You know, did we hire a live-in nanny or household employee? If we have a refund, right, because we have this $2,800 refund, they're asking us, do we want to apply that to next year's return? No. Do we want to designate $3 to the presidential campaign fund? No. Did we have identity theft related to the IRS? No. And then we'll say continue. That's all we need. Let's keep going to wrap it up. Now, if we wanted to see more uncommon tax situations, we could click here. I'm going to say let's keep going. Now, we're almost done federal, and they're asking us about our first or second stimulus check. If we didn't get one of those checks, the recovery rebate credit applies. So I'm going to say no. We didn't get one of them. So now they're asking us, you got 0 for the stimulus so far. Is that correct? And I'm going to say no. The first round was $1,700. The second round was $1,200. So I'm going to say no, I didn't receive this. Enter your first round payment. So I'm going to say we got the first round, right? $1,700. We didn't get the second round. So we'll leave that one blank and click continue. And now they're asking us about our health insurance. So we can click enter form 1095A to enter that, or I don't have one for 2020. And now we are almost done. Let's check your federal return. Continue. So it said that we found 3 details for us to review. So personal information, wages and salaries, and answers. So they just found some things to be a little confusing. This is an example after all, so I'm going to go ahead and continue, but I would definitely look at those for your actual return and situation. I'm going to click continue. So now they're telling us our refund amount, and I'm going to say continue again. And now they're choose state. Now you never want to start state until you're sure you're done federal, because state is based on federal, and it doesn't go back and forth. So if you make more changes to your federal return, you need to start your state return over, which is fine. The software does most of the work, but it's a similar process where you answer a bunch of questions. So you would just click continue and then start answering those questions for the state that you're preparing. Once you finish the state, just like we've been going down here on the side, then you'll go into review, where the software will review your return and note any things that it finds incorrect, alerts you about it, and has you check on them. And then at the end under file, you'll actually file your return. You'll be able to e-file it, which is highly recommended, or you might need to print it out and mail it in. If you have certain situations on your return, sometimes there are reasons why you can't e-file and you need to mail it in. And then down below here, you see tax tools. So I'm not going to be able to show you actually reviewing and filing it because this is a example return, but under tax tools, I do want to be sure to show you how to review your Form 1040. So if we go to tools, this is where we can search. So if you're trying to find where to enter something in the software, you can come here. You can find a topic list here. So if you want to read through the options, you can check out my fees here, which are the fees in what edition you're in. So they've definitely made this a bit clearer. You can clear and start over. So this allows you to blow out the whole thing. So if you do end up in an upgraded edition, that's what you can do to actually downgrade back to the free edition. To preview your tax return, you're going to click View Tax Summary right here, the first one under Other Helpful Links. And you can see this kind of looks like the form. And from here, if you look over on the left, you see it says Federal Tax Summary. And right below this, Preview My Form 1040. So this is the personal tax form, whether you're married, single, head of household, qualifying widower, you use this form. So that's all for doing your taxes yourself in TurboTax. That's how you get set up. You can go over and start a return yourself, get set up on your own. You have nothing to lose. You don't have to pay until you file. And again, I'd highly recommend that video about choosing the software that gives you the biggest refund and how to compare your personal return to make sure that you understand your taxes and you're getting all of the write-offs you deserve. If you have any questions about TurboTax, I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below this video, or check out any of the other videos around here that you might be interested in. I give away a free accounting worksheet for small businesses in the description below this video, so check that out if you're a small business owner and you need help with your accounting and quarterly taxes and end of year tax totals and getting caught up to file taxes. And if you know someone who might appreciate this video, do send it their way. Give it a like so that YouTube knows if you liked this video. And don't forget to subscribe if you're new here so that I'll see you next time. Bye.